let's talk about your Bears, man. I'm excited to talk about this. Was
But you're gonna
really,
go
really
Bo
excited
Nix
to watch.
next, and then we get to the Bears, but we'll go Bears.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Um, Caleb Williams in action for the first time. We were all waiting to see it.
Yeah.
A lot of people talking about some great, throws. And hey, anytime it's hard to pick what's the best throw so and so made when they threw the ball 7 times in a preseason game.
Yeah.
I think that's a good indicator that things went pretty well for Caleb Williams and company, even though they didn't get to lead to a touchdown during his drives. I want to toss it to you and ask you what was the best play you saw from him, and then I'll give you thoughts on mine because it's different from what I think most are saying out there.
Yeah, the best quarterbacking I saw was that first big third down and that throw to DJ Moore. Because
That's
again,
Yep.
that's quarterbacking, right? That's what we struggled with Trubisky and Justin Fields. And we struggled with it. We struggled with it in 2 ways, right? The coaching staff believing they had a quarterback who could make that call and then just calling it. It felt like the previous coaching staffs with the quarterback, if you're a Bears fan, you specifically watched them, they would never call that throw. They would never call that route because either A, they don't believe in their quarterback, or if they did call that throw and they did call that route, the quarterback just couldn't make the throw consistently, or they went somewhere else, or they took a sack or something like that. So that was the best quarterbacking. The best play was the moving in the pocket, the crazy little dump off to DeAndre Swift, because that's the moment that you're like, oh, that's Mahomes. Like that's what Mahomes does, where you are not afraid to be in the pocket until the last possible minute. And then you do whatever you have to do to just get the ball where it needs to go. I mean, it looked like a vintage Patrick Mahomes play. And can I also add, when the Bears signed DeAndre Swift, I'm pretty sure my instant reaction was like, okay, excited, but like, paying a lot of money for running back. He looked fantastic. And
he's explosive.
He looked exponentially more explosive than Khalil Herbert. And that was great to see. So that was great to see. Overall, I think my opinion of Caleb so far was like that's the opinion, right? It's just a big sigh of relief. It wasn't a dud. It wasn't the second coming. So it was way more positive than negative. And that is exactly what you kind of want, right? It tempers expectations a little bit. It also gets a lot of the air out of the room. It's kind of how I feel today. Like there's a lot of buildup, and you're going to be hosting a TV show for the first time. You're anchoring a TV show. You've never done it before. Good luck. Go do it. And then you do it and you realize, okay, I made some mistakes, but I got through it. And overall did a pretty good job. You're like, okay, now you put it behind you and the rest you just can build on it. That's how I feel about the Caleb Williams game. Sigh of relief. Can I also just quickly say, it's also really funny, right? Because we all know this feeling. If you are a person who wants to be in the media, you want to do what we do, right? Where you podcast or whatever it might be. We really do try our best when we're not talking about our teams. I mean, like I picked the Packers to make the playoffs. We do try our best to be as objective as humanly possible. And I feel that way when I'm talking about, JJ McCarthy. He's a rival. I don't want him to do well. I want JJ McCarthy to be awful. But objectively, from what I saw, okay, I'm going to give him the compliment. Way to bounce back from that horrible interception. That showed a lot of moxie. But I also do have some concerns, right? And then when you talk about your team, there's something inside of me too that just like it's so hard to put the fan down with Caleb right now. It's really hard to put the fan down.
Yeah.
Because this is a franchise, a lot like the Commanders. I think Commanders fans can appreciate this too. Like it feels snake bitten. It feels like we've been so snake bitten and just so wrong time, wrong place. Or right time, wrong place, or right place, wrong time for 35 plus years now. And for them to feel like it's right time, it's right place, right person, like all three are lining up. If you're getting overhyped right now, I don't blame you. I'm going to let you have it, let you roll with it. And you should feel overall good about Caleb Williams' first debut as a Chicago Bears quarterback.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think you more than deserve to like just have the moment and be in there and
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's in this case, it's a once in a lifetime chance so far to see a a true franchise quarterback for your team that you can say with confidence, I think this quarterback will be our quarterback in 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting. It's weird to say that when he hasn't played a down in the NFL, but you feel that way. I don't think you felt that way about Justin or Trubisky when they came out. You felt like, all right, I'm just going to hope that they get
Yeah.
to be that guy. I see the traits and I want it to be
Yes.
so, but I'm skeptical. There's not as much skepticism with Caleb
No.
as much as there is just worry that it won't happen, right?
Yeah.
For some like whatever reason.
Exactly.
Um,
Because we're snake bitten.
yeah, yeah, but you know that it can happen.
Yes.
Whereas with Justin and Trubisky, you still weren't sure if it could happen.
Yeah.
You weren't sure,
I
and the
also
jury was out.
I think the
You know,
feeling that a lot of Bears fans are feeling this morning is kind of the opposite of maybe what a Falcons fan is feeling, where a Falcons fan is feeling is like, we have 3 years of Kirk Cousins and then hopefully 3 or 4 years of Michael Penix Jr. on a really affordable contract. Well, probably 3 years if you pick up the option, right? So you're kind of in like a 6-year window where you say, we're not completely overpaying our quarterback position. So, and we know we have the type of guys who are going to need all the help they can get. Where it does feel like Chicago is now officially on the exact route you want to be on. No. You have a talent that is worthy of a $50 million a year contract like these guys are getting, but you're not paying him anything for 3 years. And you have a ton of talent around him. And I think it's just one of those rare combinations that it feels a little bit like when Goff was with the Rams with Sean McVay that year that remember, because Goff's first year with the Rams was still with Jeff Fisher and it was bad and it was ugly. He got fired. They move from St. Louis to Los Angeles. They bring in Sean McVay and he immediately unlocked everything and they added a bunch of talent. That's what a lot of teams are feeling. It feels like that's what the Bears have gone through. Only the difference is Caleb feels more like a Patrick Mahomes type of prospect than a Jared Goff type of prospect. Where if you are a JJ, if you're a Vikings fan or a Falcons fan this morning, maybe even a New England Patriots fan, you feel a little bit more like our ceiling is Jared Goff with our quarterback, right? Where if you're a Bears fan, a Commanders fan, you say to yourself this morning, our ceiling is guy is deserving to be in the conversation of the top 6 guys in the league, right? Up there with a Herbert, with a Mahomes, with an Allen, with a I think another very good comp is a good Jalen Hurts, where you're like, why can't this guy play in a Super Bowl if Jalen Hurts played in the Super Bowl? And so it's an exciting feeling because truly, unlike the Commanders, the Bears have a leg up is that their roster is way more built to win right now than Washington. And if Jaden doesn't succeed or struggles in his rookie year, a lot can be put on the fact that, well, I mean, the cupboard is a little more bare in Washington than it is in Chicago. It puts more pressure on Caleb, though, to perform, right? Because you've got Keenan Allen, you've got DJ Moore, and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and Swift are locked up with you and Rome Odunze for the next 3 years together, right? So like, make it work. So it's a lot. I hope he plays second preseason game, the next preseason game, which will be the third for the Bears, but the second game that he'll play in. I hope he plays a full quarter. I'd like to see a full quarter. I'd like to see him in the red zone a little bit more. I would have loved to see the Bears gone for it on fourth down as opposed to kicking those field goals. But I also get like, hey, in the regular season in that situation, you probably would kick the field goal because you're trying to get points on the board early on in the game, win the game. So maybe that's more what they're thinking. Hey, we want to put ourselves in real game scenario as opposed to like, oh, fuck it, this doesn't matter game scenario. Because I think we get that way with the preseason a little bit. Like, fuck it, doesn't matter, just go for it. But that's never how it will be once week one starts. Was week one through, if you're in the Super Bowl, everything matters. So practicing the it doesn't matter situation maybe doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I did want to say one last thing on on Caleb Williams. I thought it was extremely impressive that we got to see a sample of him in a variety of different situations, despite having the limited snap count. We saw the rollout, pump fake, throw it downfield, find the open receiver, snap on the ball. We saw the poise in the pocket in a pressure third down situation and rocket it into a small window to your receiver. We saw the scramble up the middle for a first down.
Yep.
And we saw a create when the pocket breaks down within the pocket, an off platform weird throw, dump it off to DeAndre. So we saw all of that. That's a lot of different situations and circumstances to expect to see. So I feel like for the Bears brass and an evaluation of where he's at standpoint, it can't get much better than that for a first preseason to see as many bits of obstacles and adversities that you could see your quarterback face early on. Outside of I would say like the offensive line held up pretty well. He didn't see like tons of like heavy pressure early on.
And he wasn't ever
scrambled and created.
Yeah, he wasn't ever like deep in the red zone. Like, what are you at first at third and goal?
Right.
Like third and goal situation.
When you got a shortened field to work with, how do you navigate that?
So that's why I hope he plays at least a full quarter to get into that. And I know the argument is, well, if he gets injured, your season's over. I get it, but it's just it also, you're doing him a disservice if you're expecting him to do that productively week 2, week 1, if he never's done it in an in-game situation before. So that's that. We spent a lot of time on Caleb. Caleb's going to be a huge talking point for us this year in the show. I know Nick Wright's already taken the Bears to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go that far. I can guarantee you that. I'm just not going to do it. But I will say, this Bears team has looked like a pretty darn complete football team